blood-addicted hillbillies. Last year, True Blood became one of the most talked-about dramas in years.
Last week, we caught up with actor Stephen Moyer, the latest Brit to become a sex symbol in the States. And as Bill Compton, he has become the tastiest vampire around.
God, I think Merlot's just got his first vampire. I told you, I'm a waitress.
You're something more than that. You're something more than human.
Did he bite you?
No.
Are you sure? Because you know they can hypnotize you. Aren't you going to tell me to be careful? You're always careful, Suki.
I'll be able to find you fast. If you're ever in trouble, that could come in quite handy.
Anything happens to Suki, I promise, I'll be sharpening a steak with your name on it.
If I'm honest, Stephen, we were a little bit disappointed that you came in quite slowly. I thought you were going to...
Vamp speed in. We could have cut it so that I did.
What a good idea.
Could have been nobody here and then suddenly somebody here.
Oh, in fact...
We might do that.
We might do that.
In fact, if we'd done that, this is what it would have looked like. This has got to be, for an actor who has tried to get a gig in the States in the past, where it has nearly happened but not happened. This is a most amazing gift.
Yeah, I mean, it's funnily enough, it came when I'd sort of stopped trying, as these things tend to do.
Always the way.
Yeah.
And I had actually just done a series with Deborah Messing in the US, so it wasn't like it was a complete shock out of the blue. I'd just come back from that, and we'd been shooting that in Australia for 4 months. And I'd just come back, and my manager said to me, you know, there's this great thing that you should be seen for. And I said, well, I want to sit at home for a bit. I don't want to go back to LA and do all of that thing again. And she went, OK, there's one script. Read this, please, and then I'll leave you alone.
And so when you read that script for the first time, did you realise, when you read it, that this was going to be something that would just explode?
Yeah, I did.
Right from the word go.
Absolutely, no question. And then I read it, and it was just like, this is it. This is like, when you read it, when I read it, I just knew that it had everything. It's not just about vampires.
Yeah.
It's about a lot of subversive. There's an undercurrent, you know. Our show's not just about drinking blood. It's about this synthetic drink that exists so that vampires can drink that and not your blood. But of course, it's not as simple as that. It's also about the fact that I didn't know you'd got that.
I have actually got. I just would.
You're going to have a little taste?
Well, I might have a little taste. So what are the consequences of me having a little taste of this? Because...
You might be very attracted to me.
Oh, really? You better have a drink of that.
This feels weird.
Oh, is it working?
It was working before I had it.
We suggested to Alan, like, after the first series, we should make the drink, because it was, you know, True Blood is the drink.
Yes.
And we said we should make a drink of it, and everybody was laughing about it. And then season 2, they went, let's make a drink.
Yes. Vampires have been living amongst us.
Yes.
Forever, because Bill himself, he's 173 years old.
Absolutely.
He's an ex-Confederate soldier.
That's right.
And he's left his family.
He was walking back from the Civil War. He was on his own, and he hasn't eaten for weeks. And he gets to this old house, and he knocks on the door, and he's just trying to find food. And this very civilised kind of American lady whose husband died in the war lets him in, and she feeds him, but she's a vampire, and she wants to turn him into a vampire.
And the process of
and he has nothing to do with it. He is turned against his will, and that becomes something that, for Bill, my character, is this kind of running dichotomy for him, where he doesn't want to be a vampire, but he's stuck being a vampire. He had to walk away from his family.
You say that, I mean, as we pointed out, that in 173 years ago there was no one going to create the synthetic blood that was going to hopefully keep them out of trouble. But there are still, I mean, human beings know that they live amongst them mostly, and they live by the rules. But as in all societies, there are those vampires who don't play by the rules, and there are those human beings that don't play by the rules.
Because it works both ways, because vampire blood is very addictive. It's like a drug to humans.
Absolutely. V, we call it,
Yeah. And so that's quite interesting because normally you don't see that side in other vampires.
Yes, there's a character who becomes completely obsessed with it.
Well, the rules are... I mean, you wouldn't have got in here today had we not invited you in.
That's also true.
You'd have been standing outside the door, and until one of us said, come in, then you'd have been out there in the cold.
I have to be invited into anywhere to go in.
Which actually happens in this clip here, and we should set this up, because the one thing a vampire can't do, no matter how provoked they might be, and you were provoked, you can't kill another vampire.
That's right.
If you do kill another vampire, then you have to create another vampire.
That's right.
But Suki, who is also in there, Suki. She, I didn't do it with an Alabama accent.
No, she right.
Southern
Anna
accent.
always says, it's Suki rhymes with cookie.
Suki rhymes.
Suki rhymes with cookie.
Oh my gosh.
Not cookie.
Okay, so
sorry.
which is one step away from sucky, which would have been much more appropriate.
Easy love.
Yeah.
Family show.
So there we are. You know, you've got this new, young, very beautiful vampire who her family don't know where she is. You know, well, what we should do, says Suki. We should take her back to her house. A major mistake. Don't take her back to her house because she's an out of control vampire. And you as the good guy, you've got to get in there and you've got to rescue the family. And you have to be invited in by her younger sister.
I do.
Let's have a look.
Someone who lives here must invite me in.
No, don't. He's one of them. He'll kill us all.
No, he won't. He's not like that.
You, little girl, come here.
Eden.
Come back here!
Eden, don't.
Good girl. Now you listen to me. I'm here to protect you. You and your mother and your father. I am your friend. So you just invite me in, and I can make everything stop.
You can?
Yes.
Won't you please come in, sir?
Oh, and he's in.
And he's in. Obviously, through working on the show, and it's been brilliant, but you've also met Anna.
Yes, indeed.
Your fiancée. And I have to ask you, how...
Who's Suki?
Who's Suki?
Suki.
Yeah.
How do you go about filming the certain sex scenes? Because it's one thing acting it, but then when it's somebody who you are actually involved with, does that change things slightly?
Well, you know, we met on the show.
Yeah.
And nearly 3 years ago now. And so everything that has happened to us as a couple has happened in front of that crew that we know, and it's the same crew that's been with us, as I'm sure it is here, you know, for the 2.5 years that we've been doing it. And
yeah, but we've been working with this crew a long time. But there's lots they've not been watching.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that you two were.
Well, no. Oh no. I just have another drink. I need a swig of that one.
You know, it's one of those things that we love the crew. There are times when you are doing a scene and it is literally so technical and you're trying to work out exactly, and there's camera angles and I'm worried about the shadow on Anna's face, you know, and stuff like that, and you're not thinking about things like that. But there are times when, you know,
the moment takes you. You do have a sort of special technique, something that goes through your mind to stop.
I do, yes. Mine's usually Margaret Thatcher naked playing table tennis. I think that's what everybody uses.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works, trust me.
I imagine.
Funnily enough, that's just completely counteracted what I just drank.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
It works, doesn't it?
You are right. We'll finish on. We'll have one other clip, and this is the fallout from the fact that that Suki took Jessica back to her parents' house. You had to get in there and you had to rescue her, and then this is what happens in the car later.
Yeah. I'm sorry. She promised she was just gonna look in the window. I know I made a mistake, but they're her family.
She is a vampire. She has no family.
I'm a monster and I'm gonna be alone forever because of you.
I said be quiet. You undermined my authority as her maker. You risked those people's safety and your own. If I had not glamored them within an inch of their sanity, all of our lives would have been shattered.
I know. I'm sorry.
You keep saying that, and I am expected to what? Forget this ever happened?
What else would you like me to say? I knew when she asked me to take her, I should say no, but all I could think about was Gran, and what I'd give to see her again.
That does not give you license to behave like an irresponsible child.
Great scenes. Great scenes. Well, there is a very good reason why it's as big as Sex and the City and The Sopranos, and you have this massive global following. It's certainly very different to Twilight, which you're a very big fan of.
Makes Twilight look like Mills and Boon.
It does. And the Vampire
Twilight
Diaries
is Mills and Boon, and it's very clever for it, I think.
But this certainly isn't that. This is, and it's. And
Let me do it. It's out now, and you can do this with it, which is the best thing.
I assume that you've been commissioned for some more.
We're in the middle of doing season 3 at the moment.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He did actually laugh because he shortened that down, but when you held that up, he had a big laugh. It looked like he wasn't impressed then, did he? But we were all very impressed. We played with that for hours. We all had to go.
You'll be doing it too with your box set.
Still to come, we've got